Okay. So you know those days when like your motivation to work out just seems to have like totally disappeared? Like it's gone on vacation without you.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it packed its bags and said, "See ya. I'm going to the beach."
Right, exactly.
We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
But today, we are going to dive into some expert tips from this article we found. It's called Finding the Motivation to Exercise is Hard. Like, thanks, we know.
Yeah.
But the good news is these tips can help. So we're going to try to like outsmart those couch potato moments and actually maybe even enjoy getting active.
And you know what I find interesting about this article is it's not trying to sell you on this like superhuman fitness fantasy.
Right.
It's like it gets that even those of us who, work in the fitness field, we have those days where it's just like, ugh, not today.
Totally.
So it's really about finding a way to make exercise like a regular part of your life, not this like, heroic effort you make once in a blue moon.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where so many of us get tripped up, right? Because we start with these grand plans all gung-ho.
Yes.
And then a week later, it's like, where did that motivation go? So this article really digs into that why behind the struggle,
Right.
which honestly, it seems like it should be so simple. Like we all know exercise is good for us physically, mentally.
Right.
But then that little voice creeps in.
Right.
It's like, but the couch is just so comfy.
Always. And one of the things the article really honed in on was that for a lot of people, it's that routine gets so monotonous. You're doing the same exercises, you're staring at the same wall at the gym.
Yeah.
Week after week, it's like reading the same chapter of a book over and over again.
Mhm.
Eventually, your brain's just going to check out. So fitness expert Luke Carlson, he suggests that one way to combat this is to really try to switch things up.
Oh, see, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
When I think back to the times when I've actually stuck with some kind of workout routine, it's when there's been that element of variety.
You're
It's
right.
like, I don't know, discovering a new hiking trail instead of just doing the same old treadmill routine.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, Carlson also talks about how this variety thing, it's not just about fighting boredom, it's also about taking the pressure off. You know how sometimes you get stuck comparing yourself to like past workouts or even other people?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
When you're trying something new, you're less worried about that. You're just focused on the experience, on like moving your body and seeing what it can do.
Right, exactly. And that actually ties into another point this article brings up about making things more enjoyable, like actually associating exercise with something you love.
Oh, tell me more.
Kira Jones, she's a personal trainer. She suggests this idea of almost like giving yourself a little treat, like only letting yourself enjoy a certain thing while you're working out.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right. So it could be like that new podcast you've been wanting to listen to, or an audiobook, or even, hey, if that's what does it for you, like a guilty pleasure TV show that you only allow yourself to watch at the gym.
It's like rewarding yourself for showing up, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly that treadmill doesn't seem so bad because it means you get to listen to your favorite thing.
Right. It's me time, but with endorphins.
Exactly. But let's be real. There are going to be days when, I don't know, even our favorite podcast can't quite drown out that little voice that's like,
Yeah.
nope, sofa time.
I'd rather do literally anything else.
Yes. You know, those days when you're hit with that wave of, ugh, I just can't even, energy.
Totally. And sometimes it's not even about a lack of motivation. It's those little things, those little obstacles that pop up. Like when you forget your headphones.
The worst.
Or your gym bag is still in the car.
Oh, or when you get to the gym and realize you brought two left shoes.
Oh, no. It's like instantly deflating.
Right. Motivation,
Yeah.
gone. And the article actually talks about this, about how to deal with those little things that sabotage us.
It does. This therapist, Alex Banta, calls it barrier removal.
Yeah.
It's like you have to anticipate those roadblocks and almost set your future self up for success.
Okay, I love that. So like, what, packing your gym bag the night before,
Exactly.
laying out your workout clothes, making sure your water bottle is full.
Yes, all of that. It seems so basic, but it makes a difference.
It's like you're telling yourself, okay, future me, I gotcha, no excuses. But then there are those days, those days
Oh, yeah, I know, those days.
where even remembering to charge your headphones feels like climbing a mountain.
Yes.
The idea of a 10-minute workout feels impossible.
Right, like overwhelming. And this is where I think that idea of tiny commitments that the article talks about is so key. Personal trainer Ellen Thompson, she really emphasizes that starting small is totally okay. Like even if it's just committing to like 10 minutes of movement each day. Yeah, it's not about like going from 0 to 60. It's about like, building that consistency.
Right. It's so easy to get caught up in that all or nothing mindset. Like,
Yeah.
if I can't do a full hour at the gym, then what's the point?
Right, exactly. And I think that's why I really like how Thompson talks about it in the article. She calls these short bursts of movement like exercise snacks.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It makes it sound so much more doable.
Right. It's not this big, scary workout. It's just like you're sprinkling these little bits of movement throughout your day.
Exactly. And the article even says those little exercise snacks,
Right.
they can actually add up. Like you're kind of sneaking in those healthy habits without all the pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's say, we've got our little exercise snack plan. We've laid out our workout gear like we're about to run a marathon.
Yeah.
But then life happens.
Always. Right.
Work gets crazy.
Yeah.
The kids need to be like a million different places. And suddenly that 10 minutes of you time feel like, well,
A distant memory.
yeah, exactly.
Something you could never even imagine having time for.
And that's where I think this idea of scheduling comes in, which sounds kind of like a drag.
Right.
But the article makes a good point that we schedule everything else. But then when it comes to like our own well-being, we're just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll fit it in whenever.
Right, exactly. And then it never happens.
Never.
So Qigong master Lee Holden, he talks about how it's not so much about the exact time you choose, it's about being consistent.
Yeah.
So whether it's 30 minutes of yoga before the kids wake up or a good walk during your lunch break,
Yeah.
it's about finding that time that really works for you and just making it non-negotiable.
It's so true. We're like, oh yeah, that meeting, yeah, I got to move some things around, but I'll be there. But then when it comes to like going for a walk, it's like, oh well.
Exactly. It's about making that time for yourself a priority.
Okay. I am feeling very motivated right now.
Good.
But you know what? Let's talk about those days when even getting off the couch
Oh, yeah.
feels like a Herculean effort.
The struggle is real.
Those days when you're like, I would literally rather do anything else.
Yes, and I think that's where having some accountability can really make a difference.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love the idea of being like intrinsically motivated all the time, sometimes you just need someone to be like, hey, what are you doing? Get up.
Exactly. A little nudge.
Yes.
And, that's where I think the whole buddy system thing can be super helpful.
Right.
Martin Oki, he's a fitness expert. He talks about how having that workout partner,
Yeah.
whether it's a friend, a family member, or even just like joining a group fitness class,
Yes.
it gives you that like extra layer of accountability and support. It's like you've got that built-in cheerleader,
Right.
someone who's not only going to celebrate the wins with you,
Yes.
but also gets it when you're just having an off day.
Totally. Because we all have them.
Oh, yeah.
It's like sometimes you just need that little push
Absolutely.
to get out the door, or sometimes to just unroll your yoga mat when it's been sitting in the corner.
Right. Even that can feel like a victory some days.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't know, there's just something about like sharing that experience with someone, whether it's, a super intense workout class or just going for a walk together.
Right.
It makes it more fun and less like something you're just trying to like check off your to-do list.
It's like it becomes social hour.
Exactly.
I know for me, like having that accountability buddy has made such a difference in how consistent I am.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
So, okay, we've covered a lot of great stuff today, talking about all these different ways to kind of trick ourselves into moving more.
Right.
Like switching things up, making those tiny commitments.
Yeah, like those exercise snacks.
Exactly. And like thinking about those barriers that might get in our way and just like knock them down.
Barrier removal. It's key.
It is. And, even just scheduling that time for ourselves.
Right. Treating it like an important appointment.
Which it is. Our well-being is important.
Exactly.
And of course, we can't forget about that tip of like treating ourselves, making exercise something we actually look forward to.
Right.
Find what you love and make it part of your routine.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's that new podcast you've been wanting to check out or like listening to an audiobook while you walk.
It's about making those moments work for you.
Yeah.
So as we're kind of wrapping up this deep dive on how to conquer this whole couch potato thing, what's like the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from all of this?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is that it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming thing.
Right.
Like you don't have to become a fitness guru overnight. It's about those small changes, those little steps you can take.
Right.
And just finding what works for you in your life. Because we're all different.
So true.
And it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress.
Yes. I love that. It's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And just remembering to celebrate those little wins along the way.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So you go about your day, think about like one small change you can make,
Yeah.
one tiny step toward, feeling a bit more energized and maybe a little less like a couch potato.
It all makes a difference.
It really does. Even if it's just like charging your headphones tonight, future you will thank you.